Hello, and welcome to our very first episode of the Work From Home Show, or WFH Show, the mini podcast series that connects you with a community of HR pros and other leaders sharing workable strategies handling the transition working remotely. We believe that sharing and caring will be the keys to getting through tough times and making the connections that will drive continued success. I'm your host, Nikki Weisgarber, and my guest today is Anette Ceraficki, who is the HR manager at Getty Images. Hi, Annette. Thank you, and welcome to our first podcast.
Congratulations on your new podcast.
Thank you. Yes, we're super excited. Annette, I want to kind of start the podcast and get an idea of your role at Getty Images.
Sure. So if you don't know, Getty Images is the world's largest media company. And we produce and sell all kinds of visual media for our clients around the world. So we have employees in most major centers in the world, including Calgary, Alberta. Yay!
Yay!
Our employees would include photographers. We've got over 70,000 contributors around the world. Art directors, editors, and also folks who create our website and make it possible for our clients to find us, like search people, AI, data scientists. So my role as the HR manager for the Calgary office is to support the team and also be aware of all the needs and make sure that people's needs are being met, either when we're in the office or like we're working from home right now, and also act as a point of contact to make sure everybody is got everything that they need to do the work that they need to do, support them for anything like benefits, and just make sure that they have any physical things that they need, like chairs or other things like that.
Yeah. And, with these crazy times that are happening right now, and I noticed you touched your face and you're like, oops, I touched my face.
I know.
It's like, is this our new norm where we're like going to be conscious of us touching our faces or, being 6 feet apart from people? It's kind of crazy. But how has the first week of working remotely, like full remote, given the circumstances around the world?
Well, I honestly am shocked at how quickly it's all happened and how quickly people have adapted. So how has it been? I think about a year ago, totally coincidentally, Getty invested in getting everyone laptops and also in investing in a really robust Zoom package. That just was something that, the organization did. And it really did pay off last week when we had to ask people to work from home, and people were able to do it. For the most part, all you need is a computer, a good chair, for physical space as well. People were able to find places in their home and have a really good access to Zoom, and we also use Slack a lot.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it's been an adjustment, right? Working from home, we've got the tools, but then the other thing that happened for a lot of people was that the schools were closed and daycares were closed. So, working from home is one thing, but then also working from home and also managing your family for folks who have a family has been another level of adjustment that people have had to do. And I'd say that every day there's something new, and people are adjusting, and we've got a really adaptable team. Because we are a technology company, I think people are a little more comfortable with technology than maybe some other industries might be. And I'm just waiting to see what tomorrow brings. But today it's working.
Yeah. And, the challenge with the children is something that I'm experiencing as well. And I have my husband home and my 2 kids home, and I'm a teacher and I'm a career woman. And it's really hard to bring those two together. And I'm finding that I'm not as productive or efficient in the work that I am doing. And, I gave myself kind of last week to let me figure out what my routine kind of looks like. But can you tell me a little bit about some of the steps that you're taking to ensure people are being effective and productive? And, how are you tapping into sort of the human emotions, the human side to this, and ensuring that you're not, overstepping some boundaries and pushing them too hard?
Right. Yeah. And that's the key, right? I mean, actually making sure that people had the tools they need to work from home was the easy, turns out that was the easy part. So, I'm the HR manager. There's a team of HR managers and business partners around the globe at Getty, and we're constantly working to try to find ways to make it work better for people. So one of the things that got set up last week was a Slack channel, and also we set up a website to do with COVID and working from home, with some tips and tricks for people, because I think it's not natural to be able to, when we go to work, there's a natural rhythm to how our day goes and a natural way that we get things done. And so, and also for kids, if there are kids at home, their school gives them their structure for the day. And so there's tips and tricks that are constantly being sent out, new ones. There's a Slack channel for working parents from home, and that also is providing a lot of resources, and also just coaching managers on how to support their teams, right? Maybe important. A little more frequent check-ins. Make sure that they're checking in not just for the purposes of work, but also how are you doing? Ask that question, because people sometimes might be nervous, especially last week, you're right, was the first week. And I think a lot of people were adjusting. And so we made a point of telling people, listen, we know you're not going to be as productive as you might have been coming into the office and being focused there for 8 hours a day. But, here's how you can be as productive as possible. And have a conversation with your manager about what your working hours might be. So some people get up a little earlier before their kids get up, if they've got kids, work for some time, and then they deal with their family needs, maybe go back into work, and then as the day goes on. And so we realized that one of the keys to success is going to be communication. So managers know what to expect, so they're not freaked out when people aren't answering on Slack.
Mm-hmm.
People are being a little more intentional about putting their status on Slack, right? Working from home, but away at the moment. Those kind of things really make a big difference, because perception is reality. And so communication is going to be how we're going to make sure that people are being effective and understood.
Yeah, I think over communicating has been the theme for the last week. And, it's, before we got on the podcast here, we were kind of you saw a snapshot of my schedule, and it's crazy, but, I'm trying to make myself available to my team, because it is very different working from home and being available. They can't just come over to your desk and ask you a question. And so over communicating and connecting as much as you can throughout the day, and also bringing in that human interaction as well. Like, everybody's human. We're all trying to get through this together. And I think that's the important message to relay to your people as well.
Yeah, a lot of teams I've noticed, including my team, are having daily stand-ups, where, as before, we'd have a weekly meeting. The rest of the time we'd communicate via Slack and email. But just that 15 minutes each day to check in and make sure people aren't feeling isolated, and just to be able to answer questions in the moment. It's like you say, right? I mean, sometimes people just are accustomed to coming over and asking you a question. So a stand-up is another way that we found, and I've heard other organizations as well. I've spoken with some other HR folks, and daily stand-ups and any other communication tools are making a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, and that way of connecting with your team regularly also prevents that feeling of isolation. And I think that's important during this time too. Although I don't feel as isolated, because I have my whole family here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But you still feel disconnected from the work piece a little bit, because you don't have those similar interactions at home with your children and your husband.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Have there been any sort of like surprises or unexpected things that kind of popped up that you weren't, anticipating, or you thought of prior to something like this kind of happening?
Well, it's interesting, right? So for HR folks, we talk a lot about helping people manage through change. And in theory, we all understand that different people react to change differently. And let's face it, working from home, not having access to the kind of day-to-day interactions is a huge change, right? And also in our city, we're in Calgary, we have certain things that are happening around us with illnesses or companies doing layoffs. For us as well, we have a global team. So we kind of have watched this evolve from our team in China working from home, our team in Japan. There was some, we sort of thought we were prepared from what had happened from some of our locations previously, and also from what we understand about change. But the fact is that, once you actually get into it, it is a little different.
Yeah, you're not as prepared as you think you're going to be.
Yeah. Wi-Fi. Shaw Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Pause.
So I think one of the biggest, so what are we going to do? Are we just going to keep talking? You can edit it?
Yeah, I'll edit it. Yeah.
Okay.
Or not.
Okay.
No, but
because this is the reality of working from home, right?
This is the reality.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, this is the reality.
So one of the surprises has been, we all assumed our Wi-Fi was really good and we could all just get things done. But the big surprise is really, again, human beings have needs, and people are going to react differently to the change curve.
Yeah.
So trying to understand that, remind ourselves to understand that, and remind team members to be understanding of each other. So that's been one surprise. But the other surprise is, in other cases, teams are getting tighter because they're communicating more. So unexpected things have come up.
Yeah, and I have noticed that with my team, because we are connecting more often, that it's almost like a sense of community. And we are, we're finding out things about each other that we wouldn't probably normally talked about or seen, especially just, walking around my house. People are like, oh, that's a great painting, or, oh my God, Nikki, there's certain things about people's houses that you're like, oh, that's surprising. Right? And it actually makes a great talking point. So you get to know them on a different level for sure. So I'm really enjoying that piece. And I think that's going to translate well when we're, back at the office and the other side of this COVID-19 piece, which kind of leads me into my next question for you is, what coming out on the other side of this in the next few months, what kinds of things are you anticipating that you're going to be doing to be further prepared, or what does this look like for you guys on the other side from a positive perspective? What are the opportunities that you're looking at now?
Well, I think we're looking at continuing to build on that increased closeness, I think, that the team members have. And I think people are going to be working together even more effectively than they were before. You can't sort of forget that person has 5 cats that you saw every day in the Zoom meeting that they had, right? Yeah. Or, the business. Our business it has to adapt. It's a global business, and there are going to be some impacts, and watching how did the business make choices, and how did our clients, what did they find interesting in this period? I mean, there's going to be a lot of interesting data that's going to come out of it. So I think coming out the other end, which who knows how long it's going to be, we're prepared to be working from home for months if we have to, but coming out the other end, we expect to be even stronger than we were before.
Yeah, nope, that's a great outlook. And that's kind of what, I keep telling my team as well, is you guys, this is our opportunity. We can, we can look at this as a sad situation, which it totally is, but what are the opportunities that are happening now that will push our business forward on the other side of this? So we need to start thinking in a different kind of mindset right now. And I think even just when you switch to that mindset, it takes people out of that sad place and gets them thinking about other things and focusing on other things as well. So so I kind of wanted to end our conversation with a couple of wrap up questions, and they're just kind of fun questions to add to the podcast today. So what is your favorite go-to work from home outfit?
Oh my gosh, that is a great question. Yesterday morning, my daughter asked me if I had actually been wearing the same t-shirt for 5 days.
And you're like, probably.
No, I definitely had. I'd washed it in between. I'd showered in between. Yeah. But it's kind of it's a Getty Images black t-shirt that kind of hangs down to sort of mid-thigh, and I wear leggings with it because that's the most comfortable thing when you're sitting so long. Yeah, so that's my favorite go-to. Also ponytail.
Yeah.
Don't always curl your hair.
No, I
Ponytail has
don't
been the
look like
go.
this all the time either.
Yeah, I've seen a
Awesome.
lot of ponytails on women in the
Yeah.
last, and men in the last
Yeah.
couple of weeks.
Yeah. So what is your number one work from home tip?
Number one work from home tip is kind of figure out a structure to each day. It might look different if you have a family or if you have, commitments that you have to do, but just loosely. Otherwise, you might snack all day long, as
Yeah.
I have done on certain days, or not really had sort of built in 2 hours to focus on that project. Because work time like that needs to be planned when we don't have the work environment to support it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Are you binge watching anything on Netflix or Crave?
Yes. I started watching Kim's Convenience the other day. I've
Oh,
never seen it before.
I have not seen it. It's definitely on my list of items to start binging on. So I'm gonna have to. What do you think?
I have Netflix and Amazon, and I noticed that historically, I've been one for the dramas, for the supernatural, but the last week I've just been looking for comedy. So Kim's Convenience, I binge watched the other night for about 4 hours. And then I dug back into some old episodes of Parks and Rec yesterday.
Oh my God, I love that show. One of my
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah.
So what is a book or a learning resource that you can recommend to people to continue developing their HR skills while they're WFH?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually was taking one of the things that I think is really important to get organizations through this time is to have some really solid leadership. So this isn't strictly an HR suggestion, but it's one I think for leaders or anybody in an organization who wants to, play kind of a leadership role. And that is some books about leadership from Tom Peters. And they're oldies but goodies. I really like those. And the other one is because we have to speak so directly to each other right now. One of the pieces of training that we have done in the past at Getty Images is with a book called Fierce Conversations. And Fierce Conversations is designed to enable people to have, tough conversations or not so tough conversations, but really understanding why they're so powerful and important.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. So have you made any social connections via Zoom, hence, wine Wednesdays or dinner parties that you've held? Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get together. So I've got a group of 3 other friends, and we have something we call a book club, but we have yet to discuss a book. But
Yeah.
we meet really as a book club, and we typically go to a restaurant nearby that has these steak bites that we really like. And so last week we had to get together for our book club. We all made steak bites at home, trying to get as close as we could to the restaurant's recipe, and also, of course, lots of wine.
Yes.
And then kind of rated our steak bites. Sadly, none of them seemed to really live up to what the restaurant does, but I think restaurants have some tricks. But it was really fun. We had a really good time.
That's great. I know our office is holding a grilled cheese challenge on Thursday, so you might want to stay tuned for how that works out.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, that kind of wraps up our episode today, Annette. I appreciate you taking the time to contribute today on our very first episode. I enjoyed your insights from your perspective at Getty Images and from your role, and I hope that others do as well.
Thanks,
so yeah, stay healthy out there.
You too. I appreciate you inviting me on.
Absolutely.
Good luck with the show. What's the new show?
Yes, yay, we're excited. Well, thanks for tuning everyone in today. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for future episodes. Give us a 5-star rating if you like the episodes. If you we're going to be bringing new ideas and new strategies to the show, and we're hoping to push out a couple of episodes a week. So until then, stay wise, stay connected, and stay healthy. Bye.